Here we go, just kill low voltage. There we go. Apply low voltage again, you hear a click. Jump R to W1, there was a click. Should have power here. Boom.
This video is brought to you in part by TruTech Tools, quality tools, essential support.
All right, guys, so we're here on a no heat on a residential unit, and you know I don't really do much residential videos. I've walked inside, looked at the unit, kind of seen where it's at. It's an 80% gas furnace, and they're having the house painted. So we're gonna try to record this thing. Thermostat's on, and it's calling for heat. Let's go ahead and get it open. It's a Bryant. Diagnostics down here. We've got some blanks. Let's see if it's a failure to ignite or what. So we got 3 fast, 2 slow. So we got a 32. Low heat pressure switch did not close or reopen. If longer than 5 minutes, inducer shuts off 15 minutes before retry. So we've got a pressure switch possibly acting up, which this is a 2-stage gas valve. Fancy, an 80% furnace, it's 2-stage. That's kind of funny. You know, up here in Ohio, we use 90%ers on about everything, just because why give up 15% of your heat for nothing? If you live where it's warm, it's really a big deal. So for us, it's kind of no-brainer. Let's just go ahead and reset it and see what it does here. No power switch. I don't really like that. That's kind of ganky looking. Also, guys, I got my brand new HVACR hat, which you guys should know by now that Chris over at HVACR Videos sells these. His merchandise is some of the best quality you can get. That's a flex fit hat. I left it on there just because I wanted to show it off. I use them for about 2 years before I end up swapping them out, just because they start to fade eventually. But my goodness, there's not a hat out there that can go through the crap we go through and be in that good a shape that long. And even then, they're still in excellent shape, and they just fit perfect. Link in the description below. Let's see what we get here. The old infamous carrier bypass. I've got a magnet out in the truck, but I'm not going to mess with it, so we'll just put this back up here. Now the blower is going to run for 1 minute because it's calling for heat. While we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and see if we can get to our pressure switches here so we can see which one's not closing. Okay, it's not calling just yet, is it? Calling to W1, it's not calling. Interesting. That's kind of weird. Oh, here we go. I heard a click. Nope, nothing. Let's go common to G. We do have a call for G for some reason. Not sure we really need that. So we're waiting for it to start. I don't feel like waiting forever. Name of the game is get this thing done and get out. Okay, there we go. We're going to W and we're not getting a call. Do we have a bad draft motor? That would probably make the pressure switch not work. Because I told you I heard something click. Okay, let's unplug. Yep. It's blinking. Okay, let's get rid of our little protection devices. Let's go to white, and I'm going to speculate either red is low, nothing, high is nothing. Okay, let's kill power and start over again. Here we go, just kill low voltage. There we go. Apply low voltage again, you hear a click. Jump R to W1, there was a click. Should have power here. Boom. Nothing. Let's go to black. Nothing. It appears we've got a problem with our control board not sending power to the inducer motor. Let's go to ground. Ground, nothing. Go over here. Nothing. It's not doing nothing. Imagine that. Here's your draft board down here. We got that draft motor comes down here with the black ones. Sure looks like those are it. Let's find out. Go to resistance. Go to black. Open. Let's go to the other black. Oh, look at that. That's power. Go figure. I bet you the red one there matches up to it. Imagine that. All right. So let's restart it again. Let's go down here to the bottom and see if by chance we're getting it down here. Now we know that one of those two there is actually the power for it. So let's restart it, take the jumper off because we don't want it to retry again. Because like I said, if it tries to restart with a call for heat, it will put it into a time delay. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna go ground. I don't usually like doing this, but we're gonna try it. Nothing there, nothing, oop. There's something there on the middle one. And so the middle one should have gotten power. So which one was that one? Not that one. Not that one. Nope. Nope. Which one is that middle one? So that middle one should have gotten power. Go back. We should have gotten power. Why are we not getting power there? Okay, let's start over again. It seems to reset as soon as I kill the jumper. That middle one has power, and if I have, no, I don't. Do we have a bad circuit board? I think we got a bad circuit board because it's not sending power out. There's a schematic. Here's your IDM and draft motor. The outside is white. Comes down to neutral on the actual board. High is outside black. It should go right there to high there and low there. So that's about it. It's the only thing that would be calling for it. So draft board is not doing its job. Let's see if we got resistance on the motor, which will eliminate the motor as being an issue. So let's get continuity up here. Let's go up to our motor. We're going to go to the outside, which is common. Go to the middle. Middle one comes in at, oh, it's spinning. It'd be nice if it wasn't spinning. If it spins, it throws things off. Okay, 14 ohms. I go to the outside one. 5 ohms. So our motor seems to be fine. Let's see if we got continuity on neutral there. Let's take that down here to the bottom. Probably this one. Bet you it's that one. Yep. So we know we've got neutral coming down, so neutral's good. First thing that should come on is the draft motor. I mean, it's just a given. If we want to make sure the motor works, we can, now if the switch is closed, that could be an issue too. So let's open, let's see, are these normally closed or normally open? Well, what do we got here? Common's brown, and it's normally closed. So if it's not closed, that could be an issue. Let's find out. I know it sounds like I'm just jumping around here, but I'm not. I'm just making sure before I drive all the way back to get a part that I'm not doing it and then not have all my parts I need. Yeah, it's normally open. So it should be closed when it's running. What do we got here on this one? Let's check this one. Nope. It's open too. I think it's normally open. Yeah, normally open, so that's technically right. Okay, they want them to close when it calls. And then they share off the back side there because they got pressure switch jumping here, and then you got it on the back side going to the next one. And depending on the draft, how strong it is, it will run. It sure appears this thing has got a bad board, which ain't very often. See, that thermostat's happy now. You can hear the click. That's the little relay, one of them, energizing to bring on the draft motor. I'm pretty sure most of these usually fire off in high first. Usually, if a relay's taking a crap, it will eventually make. Yeah, it's not hitting. Yeah, it's not hitting. I mean, if we wanted to see if that motor runs, we can actually jump power. This is high voltage. This is not the safest thing in the world. So if you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't recommend this. Now, if we come to this right here, and we're on voltage, should have 120 volts. Now if we hook this to the center conductor, there we go. I wasn't pushing hard enough. It's running. There's high. It sounds like crap. And this one here should be low. Yeah, there's low. I just wasn't pushing hard enough. There's high. Okay, we need a new control board. Yeah, I don't really necessarily recommend that if you're not really careful, and even then you gotta be careful because you could get shocked, and it would suck, wouldn't it? But that's why it's not supposed to be every Tom, Dick, and Harry figuring it out on their own. A lot of people are like, it's not that hard. No, none of it really is that hard. It's just a matter of knowing what you're doing. Isn't everything easy when you know what you're doing? All right, so I just called our supply house. They do have one in stock. They got that getting pulled for me, so I'll go get that. And then we'll come back, put that on, and should be good to go. One thing I always do is I always check my heat exchanger, make sure it doesn't look like there's cracks or nothing in there, which I don't see even have much warpage even on the sidewalls, so everything looks pretty good there. And then pretty much on every one of them, I always clean the flame sensor and check temperature rise, air filter, might as well see if they got good air filter, because I don't carry these on my truck. Just make sure that it's okay shape. Looks like it was May of 24. That was last changed. Okay. Honestly, it's not that bad. Yeah, look at that. It's fine. Now what I do, so that, you know, somebody can't say you skipped it, I'll put on there, check, okay, 3, what is it, 20, 320, 25, and that at least knows, or documents that, yes, I checked it to make sure that it's all right. Homeowner's not here, like I said. Honestly, it's probably not even owned by a homeowner, it's probably owned by a business. Go ahead and get this thing together. Here we go. We'll just go get that, and we'll be right back. You ready? Boom, got it. Okay, so we got our control board here. And for those out there, this is anti-static bags, which means you're supposed to touch something grounded first to de-energize yourself of potential static electricity so you don't blow your circuit board up. Once that's done, we can open this thing up. Try to keep your fingers off the happy stuff in between here. I always like to look at my board first and see if the dip switches are set the same as the other one. So this kind of goes like that. As you can see right here, we got 2 to the left. These here 2 are to the left, and the one on the bottom right goes to the right. So there we go, now I can see it. That's exactly how that one is. So I always like to copy that over. That way they're used to any fan settings, stuff like that, it stays the same. Okay, so we've got it turned off far as this here. So we got to be somewhat careful, not push that button in. Otherwise may end up, blowing something up. We got all of our thermostat wires, which usually what I'll do with that, take a picture of it so we know they go back to the same spot. Not that there's a whole lot here to remember. Common is blue. Common is blue. And white for the outdoor unit. You know, pretty much straight across the board what you're used to. So we'll go ahead and get this thermostat wires off there, and then we'll start yanking terminals and stuff. Sometimes what I like to do is just transfer things over as we go. That way we don't accidentally put it in the wrong spot. It just makes it so much simpler. This is one of the few control boards that can blow the fuse and the transformer still is getting power to the board to give you a code, which is kind of interesting to do it like that, but I'm glad it's wired correctly, because honestly, if they were doing it backwards, the neutral could be hot if it wasn't wired right, which just for shadizzles, let's make sure it's not. Okay, and then up here it is live. We'll test it out. There we go, yep. Live up there and not down here, so we're good. Shouldn't rely on one of those pins for everything, but it does a nice job at trying to protect you about some stupid things. Definitely would not trust it with anything super high voltage. It's always better to use your meter. There we go, and I think that's it. Wow, wasn't that awesome? There we go. And then I like to keep that fuse for later for good luck. Because you never know, you might need it. Especially if you blow one, you don't have to inventory it. It's always good to have it in your bag. There we go. Now, before we get too far, we could jump it. Handy dandy jumper there. So we can give it power. There we go. And we can jump it from R to W, which is the second one up. Oh, look at that. It's got power. You've got power. Give me the glow, baby. Give me the glowworm. There goes the glowworm. Okay, close enough for government work. So let's go ahead and get this finished up, and then we will get this thing done. I hate when people leave scraggly wires like that. It just irks the living urine out of me. There we go. That looks so much nicer. I get that from like the telephone company. Those guys always made some nice looking wiring. And make sure we got no stray straggly wires sticking out over the edges. And let's get this wired in. And sometimes you gotta watch too, these wires have been twisted and stuff. Sometimes I will restrip them so that they don't snap off on me later. There's nothing worse than truly having a wire that's broke off from the terminal. You know, after you've been there, and then they call back in because it's not working. So I like to sometimes do that just as a precaution. Okay, I'm gonna tuck that back in there a little bit. So that is great, grand, and glorious. I said I wanted to clean my flame sensor before we got too far ahead here. So let's do that real quick. There we go. And you guys know I love my wire brush here. And I've always demonstrated if it's not hurting my skin, it's not hurting the metal flame sensor. And unless that flame sensor is broken, there's really no good reason to replace it, or pitted. You know, if it's pitted, ate up, whatever. But if it looks like this and you're just replacing flame sensors, you're ripping the customer off. Some brands are better than others at eating up flame sensors, but I know there's some people that like to replace it every time, and that's just pure theft that gives everybody a bad name, which is another reason why I don't like doing residential, because they always think somebody's trying to screw them. And that is not how this company is, or me, because we don't get paid based off of our parts. The nitride igniters, which this one here is 0735, it's probably an 07, hardly ever go bad. They got intelligence built into them so that they only glow long enough and as high enough voltage usually that is needed, so they don't wear out very quickly. Okay, let's go ahead and cheat. Put the piece of tape back on there. So this should come on by itself now. everything should be exactly the same. And the only reason why I did that is so that I can take it apart and get into it if I need to without having to kill it and have it start all over again. Theoretically, you should have that thing removed so that it shuts down. We'll do that when we're done. No, I may not show you that I did it. Just there's a lot of things I don't show you guys. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. Like ice machine videos. If I didn't like tear the ice out and stuff, that don't mean I didn't do it. I've been pretty happy with this bag so far. Like I said, the blackout was what I was going to switch to anyway, and I just so happened to get this from the Tactical Awards, which worked out really nice. Good to go for a while. Look at that. Let's turn it off a little bit, kind of see if we can look to the glow. Oh, look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Okay. Look at it. It's Clayton again. You're live. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. It's Clayton. Here he is.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have the dryer core and contactor for rack A compressor 2? You and I are doing that tomorrow.
I don't have anything for that, no.
All right. I'm getting the compressor loaded up now for you. I'm getting my oil float loaded up. I gotta find them stuck parts then.
Yay, tomorrow I gotta work with Clayton. We're gonna change a compressor at a grocery store, which we're not gonna be doing grocery stores much longer, at least that chain of them that we're doing. No money to be made. Okay, so let's go ahead and let that run for a minute. I wanna show you guys something I'm gonna be doing a review on. Okay, what I'm gonna be doing a review on is these two thermal imagers. And why should you care? Because I'm gonna be giving away one of each. And this is made by HSF Tools. So we can see that we've got a heat register over there, and it's coming in at 75 degrees on the one, 74 on the other. But they both have got quite a range. We'll be doing a review video on these, but like I said, I'm gonna be giving away one HF96 and one F2VW. Both of these are made by HSF Tools, so we will be giving one each away. So if you guys are interested in winning that, which this one here sells for about normally 400, and this one here sells for 200 area, which I'll have discounts to save some money. But I kind of figured when I got them, when they asked me to do the review on it, I said, well, give me one of each to keep, give me one of each to give away. That way people have a reason to want to watch it. So yeah, like there's another register coming in at 80 degrees. Spot checking and stuff just makes it simple. Here's the return air. It's at 52 is the coldest, so 52. And then this ain't the most accurate way of doing it, but there's 80, so 62, 72, 82. There's about 30 degrees rise. But like I was saying, the neat thing about it is the fact that you can kind of see where your cold spots are at. The display is a lot bigger, obviously, on the one on the left, but if you don't have the kind of money that is, like right here, look at it. So we got a spot that is not insulated. Look at that. Yeah, you can see a spot. Either that's the heating ducts coming across, which looks like it is. Holy crap, you got like 63 degrees there on that one. You can see though that that ceiling has got a massive amount of heat coming down through it. Just tell it's not very well insulated, especially on a patio like this. It's not gonna be real super insulated. We're at 57 degrees here on our thermostat, set for 73. I think we're gonna turn that down to 70 because I don't think anybody's living here, and I don't think it's in program mode, so it should just hold right here at 70, which is more than enough to keep it warm enough in here for them to do the painting and stuff, which is what they were doing originally. More on those later. The furnace has been running non-stop, no problem. We've had no failures at all. Everything's burning really clean. No dropouts. Nothing seems to be making any weird noises, so we're not tripping limit. Our rise out of this thing is rated for 40 to 70 on high. So we're nowhere near that. Yeah, it's not as accurate as using a probe thermometer, but for spot checking, we're nowhere near it. I'm not worried about it. It hasn't been an issue. The heat exchanger doesn't have scorch marks in there. You know, we've got pretty good airflow from what I can feel out of the register vents. And that wasn't the problem, what we're here for. Yeah, we can pull out our analyzer and start checking the combustion. We can start pulling out the hood, start checking our CFM out of our ducts and everything else. So for the most part, yeah, we had a bad control board. And this was built in '06, so it's definitely out of warranty. There you go. Normally I wouldn't scan around the whole house like we're doing here, but technically nobody's living here. I believe this belongs to one of the factories that we do work for, and I think it's just like a place for guests. And that door does have some slits cut into it, which is important for combustion air. That's one of the things you should always keep an eyeball on, especially with an 80% furnace. Does it have enough combustion air? Technically, it should have holes at the top and bottom of the door. Coming through the ceiling, depends on your local codes. What you can do is put your door closed, see if it sucks it shut, which it does not appear to be. You know, especially kind of dangerous when you have a blower in there. So those are little things you need to keep an eyeball out. All right, guys, that's going to wrap this one up. Hope you enjoyed the video. Pretty easy one there. We diagnosed it by going through and checking voltages to see where they were or weren't. Looking at the schematic on a lot of it to figure out what was there and where it was at. I don't recommend you go in there, start jumping things right to the wiring harness unless you make sure it goes to what you think it goes to. Otherwise, you might blow something up. But for the most part, everything's diagnosed properly. We got the parts we needed without making multiple trips back and forth. We eliminated those things, and yeah, we could check amp draw and all those other things, but how deep you want to go into it, I mean, you can always, as you get more comfortable with it, you can back away from some of those tests. There's no indications why we need to do some of those things. You can drill into something and go as deep as you want. I mean, you could be checking the connections in the electrical box and making sure the flue pipe up on the roof is zip screwed together and it's pitched correctly. There's all kinds of things you could go extreme into, and that's not what we're doing here today. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Smack the thumb button, leave a comment down below, and until next time, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.